Plug yourself into the machine.
Hey folks, welcome back to Floyd's Vintage Guitars. Well, today I'm looking at one of my favorite all-time amps. As you can see behind me, I've got a lot of amps, but when it comes to Fenders, the Bandmaster Reverb from 1969, which is basically a blackface circuit, is my favorite, and here's why. A Bandmaster Reverb is basically the same circuit as a Super Reverb, but it's got a much smaller transformer, which means you're hitting the juice at half the volume. And when I'm saying juice, I'm not saying it's soft. It's not. Through its own, I'm using it now through two EV speakers in my favorite EV loaded cab, but I've got the original cab. That's the original cab behind me over there with that basement on. Even through its original, its matched cab, it's a huge sounding amplifier. So huge, in fact, that one of my favorite guitar players, Dan from the Black Keys, that's his go-to amp these days. Has been for like 2 tours already. He uses one of those through a 4x12, and as Dan's roadie tech, guitar tech, you know what I mean. Dan's Dan, because I think his name is Dan as well. As he said, that amp almost sounds like a Marshall because it's so juicy. It is the juiciest sounding amp. And what does that mean? Juicy translates into dynamics. What I mean by that is, again, I'm going to stop saying that. You know what I mean. The beauty of this Fender as opposed to other Fenders. Okay, a deluxe reverb is a great amp, but I can't use a deluxe reverb with a drummer. A loud drummer will drown that amp, and it will be fine until I need it, and then I'll kick it in for a little bit of a boost. And there's nothing there. It drops in volume because it doesn't have the clean headroom to rise above. A twin reverb is the opposite. For me to get the amp humming and getting that tone, that Stevie Ray Vaughan dirty, dynamic tone, I have to turn a twin reverb up to 10. And by that stage, you're killing the band. You're not hearing the drummer anymore. It's chaos. On this amp, at 40 watts, with the smaller transformer, it hits the perfect tone at about 4, 5, 6. By 7, it sounds like a Marshall. Literally, it sounds like a Marshall, to be honest, but with that Fender chime, you know. And for that reason, that Bandmaster Reverb blackface circuit, it's the drip edge, so it's still the blackface circuit, is probably my favorite Fender amp of all time, except for my 1959 Bassman. I've got another Bassman up there. It's a blackface. It's a beautiful amp, but it's not as good as my 4-speakered 59 Bassman. That to me is my go-to amp. But next, if I was doing a small venue and I wanted dynamics, because that is what that amp is good at. It's dynamic. You can whisper with it. You can shout with it. If you flick a string, it will bite your head off. But you can also touch the strings and massage the guitar. It's giving you a whole new palette of tones because it's so dynamic. It's very brown sounding. And for that reason, it's probably, in my opinion, top 3 Fender amps out there. You're getting that super reverb circuit, smaller transformer, and tone for days in a world where volume is an issue. This amp, it's not an issue. It's just glorious. It's perfect. It's that perfect mix between a super reverb and a deluxe reverb, and it will suit every occasion. So there you go, guys. 1969 drip edge Fender Bandmaster blackface circuit still, that's why the drip edges are so sought after. An absolute masterpiece of an amp. And I can see why Dan from Black Keys uses it, because it is that good. See you next time, guys. Cheers.
Plug yourself into the machine. Become one. Become Apple's new icon. DNA straight to the screen.